If you're moving, you've likely seen videos promising you a stress-free move. If you just follow these tips or these hacks, then everything's going to be stress-free for you. But here's what they don't tell you. While tips and hacks are really helpful, and I share a lot of them on this channel, no one can promise you a stress-free move. In fact, I'm not even sure there's such a thing. I am here to normalize stress around moving. It's part of the process, especially if you're moving for less than ideal circumstances, like a job loss, a death in the family, or a divorce. That's obviously going to be even more stressful. But even if you're moving for a happy event, like you're building a new house, your family's growing and you need more space, or you just found your dream home across town, the move can still feel stressful. So if you're feeling stressed around your move, there's nothing wrong with you. With that in mind, I want to share 7 guidelines that I'm hoping will bring you more peace and calm throughout the process of your next move. Guideline number 1 is to begin with the end in mind. As soon as you know that you're going to be moving, especially once you have that date, it's time to circle that date on your calendar, and we're going to start working backwards from there to set up your moving timeline. I learned this tip from a friend whose husband was in the military, and she was a seasoned mover. And when it came time for her to move, she was given her moving date several months in advance. I know that not everyone has that much notice, but they had several months notice, and so she circled the date on her calendar. And for 1 month prior to that moving date, she scheduled nothing. No doctor's appointments, no time out with friends, nothing. She told everybody, I'm moving on June 15th. If you want to get together with me, let's do it before May 15th. So as people were saying to her, oh, we want to get together, we should go out for lunch, we should get together and have a girls' night to say goodbye, she would say, okay, as long as it's before May 15th. And they would say, well, I thought you weren't moving till June. And she'd say, yep, but in that last month before my move, I don't plan things. And I remember thinking, a month? She's not scheduling anything for a month. That seems really extreme. Now that I've moved 10 times in 10 years, I understand why she, a seasoned mover in the military, did that. So if you have the opportunity to clear your calendar for a few weeks or even just a few days before your move, I highly recommend it, because the closer you get to your moving day, the more time you're going to need to get things done. Peaceful moving guideline number 2 is to line up help. There are 2 kinds of help, your professional help and then your friends, family, and volunteers. For professional help, it depends on your situation, but the professionals that you might need to involve in your move would include people like a real estate agent, a carpet cleaning service, a lawn service, repair service, cleaning service, and of course, a moving company if you decide to hire movers. If your circumstances don't allow for you to hire all of that help, you can ask for volunteers. Friends, family, community members can help you with the packing, loading the truck, watching your pets or your children if you need help with that, maybe bringing in meals that night before. Whatever is going to help you the most, this is the time to call in all the favors. Most people will be really happy to help you. They just need specific directions. They just need to know what to do. For example, you could call a friend or a neighbor and say, hey, we're moving on the 30th. Could you come over the day before on the 29th and help me clean out my refrigerator and freezer and wipe it down? And then you can take whatever food is still usable, just take that with you. It's my thank you to you for helping me clean out my fridge and freezer the night before the move. And get that on your calendar as soon as possible. So that way it's one less thing that you have to worry about in that last 24 hours of your move. Whether I'm renting or selling a place, I always clean it out before I move. There are some people who will tell you that if you're selling a house, you don't have to clean it before you move, but I believe in the golden rule, and I believe that if I'm buying a house, I want to move into it clean. So I always leave it clean for the next person. But usually after moving day, I'm so tired that I don't want to clean it. And so this is a good time right now, as soon as you know your moving date, to ask for friends and family, volunteers to come and help you clean, or hire a cleaning service, whichever one fits in your budget and your situation. Go ahead and schedule that on the calendar and get that crossed off your list now so that you're not scrambling at the last minute to try to find people to help you. And pro tip here, ask for twice as much help as you think you're going to need. So if you're not hiring a cleaning service and you're going to clean the house yourself and you think it's going to take 2 people, ask 4 people. If you think you're going to need 5 people to help you load the truck, ask 10, because you would be surprised. People forget, they get sick, something comes up, and you don't want to be left high and dry without the help that you were counting on. So always overshoot the number of volunteers that you think you're going to need. Worst case scenario, everyone shows up, the work goes twice as fast, and it's easier on everyone involved. Speaking of asking for twice as much as you think you're going to need, that brings us to your peaceful moving guideline number 3, which is to give yourself margin, because you don't want to feel rushed. So one little trick that I do when I'm getting ready for a move is, let's say I'm moving on the 30th. When people say, hey, Sheila, when are you moving? I will say, my last day is the 29th. The more I hear myself say out loud that my last day is the 29th, it sends a message to my brain that I'm moving on the 29th. So then the 29th comes and it feels like I have an extra day. It's a little bit of a mental game, but it really helps me to not feel so rushed on that very last day. Always give yourself margin. Give yourself more time than you think you're going to need. Another way to give yourself margin is to pre-pack as much as possible. So as soon as you know that you're getting ready to move, that's the time to start decluttering and packing and starting the process. You will never regret getting an early start. And always make sure that you have more supplies than you think you're going to need. I did a whole video about the moving supplies that you might need, but in that video I shared that you can never ever have too many boxes or too much tape. So go ahead and stock up on more than you think you're going to need. You won't regret having extra on hand, but you will regret if you run out at the last minute. Worst case scenario, you bought supplies from the store and you ended up not using them, and you can just return them for a full refund, which is why I recommend keeping all of your moving receipts in a little pouch, such as this one. I keep one of these in my car, and that way if we need receipts to be reimbursed by an employer or to return things to the store, I know exactly where all of my receipts are. They're in this pouch and they're in my car, and that way they don't get lost. Peaceful moving guideline number 4 is to give notice as early as possible. So this would include notice to your landlord, your insurance company, the utility company, the postal service, and any place where you need to request records, like from schools or medical offices. This is where it's really handy to keep a checklist on your phone. So as you think of people that you need to notify, go ahead and add that to the note on your phone. And then as you notify the people on the list, you can start to check it off. Peaceful moving guideline number 5 is to get rid of as much stuff as possible. If you ask a real estate agent what's the most important part of real estate, they're going to tell you location, location, location. And if you ask me what's the most important part of moving, I'm always going to say declutter, declutter, declutter. With 10 moves in 10 years, I can honestly say that I have never gotten to a new place and thought, wow, I wish I had brought more stuff with me. I really wish I had more stuff. Get rid of as much stuff as possible on the front end of your move without having to pack it up, load it on the truck, unload it, unpack it, and then get rid of it. This is your chance to let things go that are no longer serving you, to free up that space in your life, and to make room for new experiences. So declutter as much as you can on the front end, and then don't be surprised if there's more to declutter when you get to the new place. I have multiple videos about decluttering, which I will link down below, but my basic rule of thumb is when in doubt, leave it out. You will know what to keep and what to let go of. Just trust your gut as you declutter, and you're not going to get it wrong. If you're enjoying this video so far, please click that subscribe button so that I can reach more people and help more people. Thank you so much. Let's keep going. Peaceful moving guideline number 6 is to pack smart. Packing smart includes starting early. It includes using the right size boxes. Remember, the heavier the item, the smaller the box. So books always go in a small box, and light items go in a large box. Packing smart also means that you don't leave any dead space or empty space in a box. And the reason that you don't want any empty space inside your box is that if there's empty space, then the stuff inside will rattle around and it's likely to get broken. And when you stack things on top of that box, if there's dead space inside the box will crush and everything that you stacked on top will start to fall over like a big game of Jenga. So make sure you've packed your boxes as tightly as possible, and check out my video about the right way to pack a box if you have any questions about that. Speaking of packing smart, don't forget your load last box. This is the box that goes on the truck last and comes off the truck first. So these are the things that you need right away when you get to the new place, and I will link that video down below. This load last box is going to contain things like toilet paper and hand soap and a shower curtain and towels and things like that that you're going to need right away on the other end of your move. And I can't mention packing smart without talking about colored duct tape. This stuff is your best friend when it comes to being organized for your move, and I will link that video down below too. Peaceful moving guideline number 7 is that details save stress. Some of the details that you might not have thought of are when you're taking pictures off the wall, put the hardware that the picture was hanging with in a little Ziploc bag and tape it onto the back of the picture. Also, if you have a gallery wall with lots of pictures on it, take a picture of that wall before you start taking the pictures off. That way you can remember what went where. If there's a picture that I like having hanging at a certain height, then I will measure the distance that I had it from the floor to the nail, and I will write that down in my notes on my phone so that I know exactly where to put the nail in the new place. It's just one less thing to worry about. Anything that you're taking apart, like beds, make sure that you put all of the hardware for that piece of furniture in a Ziploc bag, tape it closed, and then attach it to the piece of furniture. Or you could just write on the Ziploc bag what piece of furniture the hardware went to and keep all of your hardware in one shoebox or something. But just make sure that you know where your hardware is, because when you get to the other side, you can't put your beds together if you don't know where all the pieces are. Also, before you unplug your electronics to move them, like computers or TVs, make sure you take pictures of all the cords so you know what got plugged in where and how it all goes. It's going to make it so much easier when you get to the other end to just be able to pull up that picture and know how to set everything up again. Another detail that can save you some stress is packing a suitcase for every member of your family. Even if you're just moving across town, be sure that you pack some extra clothing, underwear, prescriptions, contacts, glasses, supplements, baby items, diapers, pet supplies, anything that you're going to need for those first few days. You want to make sure that you have it all together in a suitcase so that when you get to your new place, you're not having to dig through boxes or dig through the back of the truck to find what you need. So again, I can't promise you a stress-free move, but what I can promise you is that when you follow these 7 guidelines, you are going to feel more peace in the process of moving, and that is what I want for you. If you want more information about how to have peace in the process of your move, be sure to watch this video right here. I'll meet you there.